So let's talk a little bit about your role. So you're heading up marketing, and we talked to a lot of CMOs, and marketing tended to be really much brand building and campaign 10, 15 years ago, and now it's turned into full-fledged strategic board level functions. So it can be very broad and very narrow. So share a little bit about your scope.
Yes, indeed, you're right about this. It feels like the role of the marketeer basically evolves or changes every 3 to 4 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. So my current role at Ace Tate basically encompasses, how do we say it? So on one side of the things, like the very classic growth, acquisition, retention functions that you see for the most part is consistent with marketing everywhere. So how are we acquiring new customers? How are we retaining those customers? And what's the opportunity there? Mm-hmm. The other side of that is indeed the brand building element as well. So for us at Ace Tate, we are in many ways a values driven brand. There's things that we really care about as an organization. We want the world to know about. We want our customers to know about. So spend a lot of time and a lot of my day to day really working with the founder, with our creative directors about how to bring that to life. Mm-hmm. And then the final element is being able to articulate to our customers the services and the products that we have. So working very close with the retail teams, with our customer experience teams, the customer service teams, to make sure that all the information that needs to be communicated to our customers is done in a clear, direct, understandable way.
Yeah. Are you also responsible for the e-commerce revenue, or do you have a peer for that?
We have a peer for that. So we look at in marketing actually bringing customers onto the platform.
Yeah.
And then I have a peer who's responsible for actually converting the customers that we bring on board and bringing the traffic and turning them into customers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So basically responsible for all the way from creating awareness down to delivering marketing qualified leads.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And then of course retaining those afterwards.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not unimportant. So you can learn a lot from your successes and also for your failures. So can you share one success at Ace Tate in the 2 years you've been there that you're very proud of?
Wow, that's a good question. I think one of the things that I'm proud of the brand, I'm proud to be a part about is the endeavor that Ace Tate's started doing, I think it was around 2018, to really invest in sustainability and responsibility. Mm-hmm. This has been a passion of mine for pretty much my entire career, and I was really proud to join the organization in doing that. And one of the projects that we delivered last year, despite COVID, was a project called Reframe, which basically allows customers to be able to bring their products back in store. We recycle them. Where possible, and in many cases it is very possible, we can refurbish those frames, make them great quality, and then resell them to another owner. So we're basically creating circularity with our product.
Oh, that's great. It's a little bit like what Patagonia did also with
worn
wearing stuff. Yeah,
indeed.
Okay.
And
Cool.
and in a way, that's also where Depop came into play. So we have we've built a nice channel on Depop where we're able to also offer those frames. Basically great quality secondhand frames, and find them a new owner. And that's quite nice to be able to start to build circularity into the mix. So that's something I'm quite proud of as well.
Interesting. And you also learn from your challenges, or maybe even failures or fuck-ups. We always have a fuck-up Friday in our team, for instance, and it's not.
I wish only one day a week was fuck-up week Friday, right? That'd be nice.
Well, it's okay. You can talk about but only one fuck-up you can bring from the entire week.
That's a nice one. I might have to borrow that.
Yeah, it's actually really cool for the team. It builds, kind of a laugh about, sometimes things just fuck up, and that's okay. But it's actually creating a safe space to talk about it and maybe have a laugh. And, it's a good way to balance it off with all the focus on creating wins, But anyway, is there a learning that you had in your time there that you thought, in retrospective, I would have done that differently, for instance?
Well, so many, geez. On the strategic side of things, and I find this quite interesting. Going across my career, I've been very lucky to work in different sizes of organizations. So working in, for example, at Adidas in the global strategy team is a much bigger beast. And previous than I also worked at G-Star on the brand side, which is a very large retailer, but not, let's say, at the level of Adidas where you have basically individual corporations in every single market.
Yeah.
Then coming into Ace Tate, which is in the process of transitioning from that startup to really that scaled phase. And one of the things that, as a marketeer, if you want to make those transitions into different marketing business models, that you have to kind of learn is to really be very surgical in understanding which tactics you can bring with you as you make that transition,
Yes.
and which ones you have to basically learn. And I think, like many startups and many scale-ups, we're also very ambitious at Ace Tate, right? We want to grow, we want to deliver our product to a wider set of customers. And when first starting, for me, like I really wanted to inject into Ace Tate a lot of the bigger awareness tools that I've seen work in larger organizations. But the reality is, for us, is that we're at a phase where we're still having to make investments step by step. So, if it's a larger organizations, maybe you can just toss a ton of money at an organization. But when you're in a startup, you can't do that. You have to think really about taking little tools and little baby steps, and that's something that took me a little while to adjust. But that's something I really enjoy learning.
Yeah, it's definitely true that there's a lot of difference in your operating model as a marketing lead in a more corporate, well-structured environment versus the nimbleness and the agility that you need to
100%.
Embody. Yeah,
and the flexibility there. And I think it's especially when you if your experience is in brand building and there is, let's say, like I don't want to call it a classical way of doing brand building in large organizations, but there's the brand is a big moving machine that takes big actions. And as you come into smaller organizations that still have brand aspirations, you have to start to learn that actually brand can be done in very big ways, but also in very small tactical ways. Like, random example, probably for us, I would argue at Ace Tate, our most effective marketing channel to date has been our tote bags. Right? It's so funny. Like, if I was working at Adidas, I would not even be thinking about this.
No.
But these tote bags, they're beautiful organic cotton tote bags. You see them all over the streets here, in Amsterdam and Berlin and London, have been fantastic tools for this. So when we open new stores, we'll work with a local designer. We'll make a limited edition tote bag. We'll give them to customers.
Yep.
Customers love them. We see more and more in our customer surveys that peer-to-peer recommendation is a huge driver for people to hear about us, and we know they're an important tool for us.
It's very interesting, actually. You bring me back to the Web Summit in Lisbon. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I was there, I guess, a year ago or 2 years ago, I forget. But anyway, pre-COVID. And there was PVH had a huge booth there with all their innovation and digital stuff. But next to it, there was also, a print shop where you can get, a high quality tote bag that you could personalize, and the line was just enormous. And this was a tech conference with all these, lots of key cool stuff that you can do. And I just think the tacit nature of having just something feasible that is also personalized, goes a long way. So 100%. Great story.
Yeah, 100%. And also, the more you work in marketing, the easier it is to actually forget what it is to be a non-marketeer, if this makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
You probably have this too. Like, you cannot help but look at social media through the lens of marketing strategy, but this is not how most individuals, non-marketeers, view it.
Yeah,
most people don't go to shops thinking about this customer experience. They're there to buy something. Yeah. And a tote bag is a fantastic example of this. Like, very few people care about your big, crazy ad campaign, and very few people probably even saw it unless they were in your consideration set in the first place. But this is a product that's actually valuable for them and is fun.
Yeah.
And I think the more you move into the startup and scale space as a marketeer, the more you have to really remember the simple things are often the most effective things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. Leuk dat je op ons YouTube-kanaal bent. Wil je meer zien en horen vooral van alle top marketing CMO's in Nederland? Abonneer je dan eventjes hieronder, dan mis je nooit een aflevering.